Today I'm going to talk about taking a live audio stream and processing it with effects from ESP. I've got my Reface CS set up here, which does have its own effects system, but I've disabled all that, so we've just got a very dry signal. I'm going to start off with Ableton Live and show you how to configure things there. Then we'll move on to Logic and finish up with Cubase. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because ESP has this functionality, but Yamaha doesn't really document how to get it set up, and it's not exactly straightforward. So let's just get into it, and I'll show you how it works. So right now, you won't be able to hear anything from the Reface because Live is not listening to it. So let's start off with our audio track here, tell it to monitor my Reface CS, and I'm going to monitor its input, and now you can hear its very dry signal. You can see now that the VU meter is going up and down as that instrument plays, and we want to process that with ESP. So let's go to my first MIDI track here and tell it that we want to use the VST3 version of ESP. Here it comes. Now I'm going to move that off the screen a moment because that's not all we need to do. We actually need to tell Live to send the audio from the Reface into ESP. Thankfully with Live that's actually really straightforward. You just go to this Audio 2 system and tell it to go to ESP, which brings that back onto the screen. But now when I play the Reface, you can see that I have levels being recorded both for the Reface itself and for ESP, because ESP is receiving that audio. So let's switch over to ESP, and you can see that it's monitoring the audio. We've got a nice waveform being shown there, but nothing's actually happening to the audio yet because we haven't told it to use any effects. So it's currently using the standard CFX plus FM EP performance. Let's change that to just an init performance so that nothing else is set up. And then I'm going to pick up Common and use the menu to go to Audio In, Routing. And from here, you can see that there are two insert effects, A and B, that can be applied to the incoming audio. So let's get busy. Let's start off with maybe a little bit of left CR delay. Nice. And then let's add some G chorus to it. We can toggle those on and off so we can hear it dry, just the chorus, just the delay, and both. Very nice. We've also got the two-band EQ that can be applied, so let's have a quick fiddle with that. Let's set it to low shelf mode for EQ 0.1. So if we wanted a little bit of a low boost, we can have that. Let's have a high shelf on the other end. That'll do. Now you can also notice that we have reverb send and variation send, which is both currently set to 0, but that will allow us to send the audio from the Reface into the system effects, which are conveniently just over here. So what do we have here? We've got a RevX Hall on the reverb effect and G chorus on the variation. Well, G chorus is no good because I'm using that as an insert effect. So let's change that over to use maybe a VCM flanger. Now, of course, we can't hear anything yet because we haven't changed the variation send level. So let's just switch this over to audio so we can see it happening there too. And let's gradually increase that to about halfway. So half of the signal is being sent to the flanger. Okay. Now let's do the same for reverb. We'll just gradually increase the amount. Let's quickly toggle off the other effect so we can hear just how much reverb is being applied. Let's change that to something big. And then bring everything back. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to use this same effect system later on for the other doors. So let's just save that as, what should we call it? ESP effects. And that'll do. Okay, let's move on and work with another input. Maybe let's use my voice. So let's come out of here, and we're going to get this second audio track to listen to the SM7B that I'm currently listening to. Get it to monitor its input, and there it is. Now again, this would need to be routed into ESP for it to do anything. So let's go and grab another init performance so that it's not going to do anything weird. And we'll send the audio from the microphone into ESP. And once again, we can see the level meters moving up and down with my voice as I speak. Well, I guess the most obvious thing to do here would be to add some reverb. So let's leave the insert effects alone for now and just increase the amount of reverb that is being sent to the system effect. I wonder what my voice sounds like with a shimmer reverb. 1, 2, 3. Interesting. Maybe the massive ambient preset. That's distinctly dodgy. Okay, let's just go back to basic. So this would be a nice easy way for you to add effects to a mic if you were singing live, for example. But actually you probably wouldn't use the system effect for that. So let's take that away, and instead we'll use an insert effect for our reverb. Let's do an SPX stage. There we go. Now, if you want to configure that, then just switch over to the insertions, and there's all of the parameters for changing what you need there. So let's raise the reverb time to about 2 seconds, add some little less diffusion, slightly more density if we can. No, we can't. Anyway, there we go. Vocal effects now being processed. Should we do something strange to my voice on the insert B? See what we can do. I wonder what my voice sounds like with an amp simulator.
That's horrifying. Let's not do that. Maybe just do a delay. A tempo push delay.
That could be interesting. Very interesting. But I don't think we want that, so let's turn that off again. And I'll save this performance again as vocal effects. ESP vocal. Done. Okay. Final thing we're going to do before we move to a different door is we're going to try working with a virtual instrument. So let me turn off that monitoring now. And what we should find is that my voice goes back to normal. Great. Because that was feeling pretty weird in my ears. Okay, so second MIDI track here, and let's go grab a virtual instrument. What should we have? Let's have a CS80 V4 from Arturia. There it is. Doesn't seem to be playing anything because we're not monitoring it, are we? Let's try that. Turn down the volume on there. Now that sounds like that's got its own effects applied, so let's quickly turn those off. Yeah, there they are. Lovely. Right, let's get out of advanced mode and just do the same magic that we did before. So again, we'll take the audio from this virtual instrument, send it to ESP, and now it's going to be using my vocal effects at the moment. So let's go and play with that. How do I fix this? There we go. Grab hold of that. No, grab hold of this. There we go. So let's play around with what's going on here. Let's just have the ESP effects that I did before. ESP effects, that's the one. There we go, virtual instrument being processed with ESP. Okay, so here we are in Logic. We've got a brand new project here. We're going to do this all from scratch. And the first thing we need to do is get monitoring set up for the reface. So we're going to have a mic or line, and you can see that this is actually already configured. We set the correct inputs and send it to stereo output with input monitoring turned on. Hit create on that, and for some reason, I bet this doesn't work. It doesn't. For some reason, you have to go in here and just confirm the input. I don't really understand why that is. But anyway, we've got it now with that dry signal. So let's go and add ESP. We'll have a software instrument. Again, go into stereo output. And then we will collapse that up and grab ESP from the list of instruments. There it is. Now, at this point, I was a bit confused there because I was seeing volume for both ESP and the audio, but of course the audio I'm hearing there is because I've got the ESP track selected, and so it's actually playing ESP. But if I go and select the audio track instead, then MIDI doesn't get transmitted to ESP, and we don't see the level meter going up and down. Okay, now I'm going to switch this over to my ESP effects performance that we made just now. And now we need to set up the audio going from this, which is the reface, into ESP. And this is a little bit more convoluted than it was in live, but I'm sure there's lots of different ways to do it, but this is the way that I do it. So we'll take the audio track and switch it from sending to stereo output to a bus, because a bus can be picked up by any other element of the system. So I'm going to send it to bus 1. You can send it to any bus you like if you've got other things set up, but bus 1 is where the audio from that is going. Now, bus 1 eventually does end up at the stereo output anyway, but it just gives us something that we can hook into. So now we'll come back to ESP, and the key here is the sidechain control. This is how you have to get input into ESP or any other Logic, VST for that matter, or AU. So let's pick up bus 1, audio 1, and now you can see that ESP is hearing the audio from the reface, and in fact it's already applying the effects because we got the performance set up already. Great, so there's not an awful lot left to do there. Let's do the same but for vocals. So I'll just move that out of the way. We'll have a new audio track. This time it's going to listen to my microphone input, which is there. And no doubt, once again, this will just keep that out of the way. As you can see, it's not monitoring. I've got to go and tell it to listen to that again. There it is. And this time, let's quickly switch that over to the ESP vocal. And we'll do the same trick with the bus that we used for audio 1. Okay, so the mic, not stereo output, send it to bus 1. And what we find is that instantly we have the reverb being applied. Okay, let's do one last thing. Let's come out of here and turn down the reface and turn on monitoring for the mic so that you can just hear my normal voice again. And we'll set up a software instrument. So we'll have another software instrument, create that, and pick an instrument for there. Let's have maybe an Arturia Mini. There we go. What's that sound like? Nice and dry. Let's move that out of the way. And once again, we need to send that to the bus. And we should now get my vocal effects applied to that. So let's load up the other one, which was ESP effects. And now we should have the big chunk of effects that I set up earlier on. Lovely. Okay, now one thing I didn't mention last time around is the master effects system, because of course you not only have the send effects, but you can apply master effects to the entire system. So let's just raise an octave there. I've got a multi-band compressor on there right now. Let's see what happens if we put a bit crusher on it. That's pretty horrifying, but it is there if you want it. Okay, here we are in Cubase, and again we're going to set this up from scratch. So let's start off by monitoring the reface with an audio track. It's already set up to listen to line in 7 and 8. Let's give that a quick name and add the track. We need to monitor that, and that's working nicely. And now let's add ESP. That's going to be instrument, and we can pick up ESP from there. Add that. Okay, now again we're going to have to find a way to take the audio from the reface and put it into ESP. Now on Cubase this is slightly easier than it is on Logic, but it's gated by a paywall. The version of Cubase that you get with your Montage or MODX does not have this feature, so you will need to upgrade to the Elements version, which is not especially expensive, but it's not free. And the way to do it is up in the top bar here, you'll see this activate and deactivate side chaining control. So we turn that on, and we want to add a side chain source of reface. And you can set the send level for it here, but essentially that's done. And now when I play the reface, you can see that it's going into ESP. So again, you cannot do that with the Cubase AI that you get with Montage or with MODX. You must upgrade to Cubase Elements. Okay, so let's set this up from scratch again, shall we? Let's just grab an init performance, grab common, and then the audio in routing. No effects so far. Let's have a phaser this time. You can hear that running. And then let's also add, let's just go a bit mad. How about a ring modulator? Let's hear it without. Okay, that's all fine. Let's go and deal with the common audio. So again, we've got the reverb and variation levels. RevX Hall is our standard reverb. Let's bring that in. Let's change that to a shimmer. Maybe add the amount slightly. And variation, let's have a delay. Maybe, it's very noisy in my studio today. There's a plane going over. But I'm not going to edit that out. Hopefully you won't hear it too badly. Okay, so there we go. We've got a basic set of effects applied there. Obviously we can alter that with the master EQ or with the audio input level EQ. Yeah, okay. Right, let's do some vocals. Let's move that out of the way. Have a new audio track, listening to, where is it? That one. that's just going to be the mic. And again, we're going to need to set this to unlike Logic, where the control to send a track to another track is handled by the track that's doing the sending, and the same goes for live for that matter. In Cubase, the sending is more of a pulling, which is handled by the virtual instrument that is getting the input. So we have to go back into here and add another sidechain source, and we'll add the mic this time. Let's turn off the reface for now. And now, if we monitor the mic, then we should hear the vocal effects being processed using whatever we set up just now, which is very strange. But there we go. Let's turn that off again and do the final step, which is going to be a virtual instrument being processed. So let's have virtual instrument, and what should we grab this time? Well, let's have Massive X. No idea what preset this is going to bring up, but we'll soon see. Oh, that's a very large window, isn't it? Let's have another track and use that instead. Something that is nice and easy to work with. Like, oh, let's have a cylinder. We'll add that track. Okay. That'll do nicely. So back to ESP, add a sidechain source. I want the Selena in there this time. We will bring that out and hear what that sounds like. We need to monitor the Selena. And of course you can take the effects from any performance, so let's see what comes in with the basic CFX concert. Now obviously the audio in won't have any effect by default, but that doesn't mean we can't send stuff off to the reverb and the variation. It's actually two different kinds of reverb there, which is kind of weird. Let's go for something a little bit more, who knows what that is. Okay, well, that was a slightly messy demo of how to do your audio routing to get your live audio being processed by the effect system in ESP. I hope it was useful, and if you have any questions, or if you'd like to just generally laugh at the lack of polish in the presentation here, then leave a comment below.